With yet another Game 7 collapse, James Harden has officially cemented himself as a regular season stat padder, a guy who doesn't seem to care much about winning when it matters most. Put simply, James Harden is built for stats, not for rings. Now, there's no shame in losing a Game 7, unless you've lost 4 in a row, and each one has been more disgraceful than the last. Take his latest masterpiece, 7 points on 8 shots in a 20-point elimination loss to Denver. Unacceptable, no matter who's guarding you. And here's where it gets interesting. Harden was expected to opt out and get paid after this so-called renaissance season. A renaissance from what, you might ask? His last Game 7 choke against Boston as a Sixer. In this video, we're gonna break down Harden's last 4 Game 7 meltdowns to expose the truth. If the Clippers, or any other team for that matter, want to pay him big money, they better know one thing. When the lights shine brightest, James Harden runs to the darkness. This journey starts in Houston in 2018, in the famous Game 7 against Golden State, when Houston as a team missed 27 straight threes and James Harden himself went 2 for 13 from 3 in a heartbreaking loss. Houston was up 3-2 and had a golden opportunity to win, but they lost Chris Paul to injury, and this is prime Golden State we're talking about. So there wasn't too much cause for concern or worry, but it wasn't the first time in his Houston tenure that his playoff performances had come under criticism. What seemed to stand out already with James Harden was they drop off between regular season and playoff play. Losing to a severely undermanned Spurs team from a couple years ago was also rankling and casting a cloud over the proceedings already. But still, James Harden had 32 points in that game. Then came Brooklyn, which was an overall unmitigated disaster, and Harden was playing injured in that infamous Game 7 against Milwaukee, where Kevin Durant's big-ass toe was on the line. Otherwise, that team beats Milwaukee and probably wins a title. But Harden still gutted through the game and ended up with 22 points on 5 of 17 shooting in 53 minutes. Not an optimal performance by any means, but still, some respect can be paid to him for gutting out an injury. The man still played for 53 minutes and gave you 22 points. Still, given the unmitigated disaster that Brooklyn was and the fact that he forced himself out of Houston, there seemed to be a pattern building, but it would have been hard to point out anything concrete at this point. And still, some positives can be gleaned from the fact that he still gutted through an injury in the Brooklyn scenario, and in the Houston scenario was still the leading scorer on his team. But these next 2 instances leave no room for interpretation. Only 2 years ago, the Sixers are in a surprisingly tightly contested series with the Celtics, with Harden having some great throwback games leading to surprise wins against a better team. Actually, he gave the Sixers a chance. Then came Game 7. 9 points on 3 of 11 shooting. Multiple instances of lackadaisical play, giving up the ball, in essence saying, I don't give a shit, let somebody else do it. For all intents and purposes, it looked like James Harden gave up on his team and stopped caring. This was after leading his team to upset wins. When they needed him most, he disappeared. And what really stood out on this one was the 3 of 11. It's one thing if you shoot 30 times with a bad percentage, because it at least shows you went out on your shield. 3 of 11 shows he just didn't care, or he shrunk so much that he was so afraid to take even a shot. Being the lead distributor and second best player on your team, not ideal. Then, after these playoff flameouts, it became so toxic in Philly that he forced his way out of there and landed with the Clippers, where he signed a 2-year discounted $70 million contract for a team that was expected to win 35 games because Paul George walked out the door. And lo and behold, with no expectations and a healthy Kawhi, James Harden played an excellent second fiddle and was a highly effective distributor again, and ran the offense so well that the other pieces also had career years. Ivica Zubac was one of his biggest beneficiaries, and the Clippers exceeded all regular season expectations with a 50-plus win seasons, and then gave the Denver Nuggets all they could handle in a 7-game series. And again, James Harden dialed it back in this series. He guided them to surprise victories. No one thought this would go to 7 games. But again, unfortunately, like clockwork, when his team needed him the most, James Harden faded away into oblivion. And again, it's the way he did it that is so absolutely off-putting and disgusting. Passive, uncaring, zero sense of urgency, leading to 7 points on 8 shots in an absolute drubbing by the Nuggets. The Clippers had a great chance to really make some noise and cause a massive upset. And again, James Harden was one of their best players till he wasn't. And now, what seemed like a no-brainer for the Clippers and a massive windfall for Harden has come into question. Yet again, when the lights shone brightest, James Harden ran for the hills. Do the Clippers want to commit massive money to an aging superstar who is content with getting great stats in regular season but then losing in the first round of the playoffs? Not to mention, he's getting older and has an increasing injury history. At least with Kawhi, despite him always being injured, you know when he plays, you're getting a guy who's a winner and will rise to the occasion. I think it's safe to say that over multiple stops with James Harden, you're not getting that. So the true question is, for the Clippers or any other team for that matter, how much is just getting to the playoffs and losing in the first round worth to you? Do you want to just get there and be at the dance but not participate? Because truthfully, history has shown that is the only real question worth asking when it comes to James Harden.